Gamers tend not to remember these ones, and we can't figure out why. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 forgotten third-person shooters. For this list, we ranked the most underappreciated third-person shooters that either didn't sell well on their initial release or have since been forgotten over time.
People are being attacked by giant insects!
We're sticking to one game per franchise, and we're also ruling out open-world sandbox games, since those titles are a genre on their own.
Back in your cell. Everything's under control.
Number 10, The Club. Expert racing game developers Bizarre Creations mixed elements of their driving titles with violent mayhem, and the results were pretty interesting. This club, where most of the game's action takes place, is a brutal underground gladiatorial sport where tough guys go head-to-head while wealthy businessmen place bets on who will survive.
Kill it. Fight!
Features from racing games like time attack events were flawlessly integrated into the shooter's framework, and the combo system makes blowing your enemies away pretty damn addictive. Number 9, PsyOps, The Mindgate Conspiracy.
Find a way to get it, but be careful. His powers are dangerous.
Why shoot when you can mess people up with the power of your mind? Here, you play as Nick Scryer, an agent with telekinetic powers, who has his brain wiped by the government so he can infiltrate a mysterious organization known as the Movement.
He expects his quotas to be met.
Besides typical weapons, he can use his telekinetic abilities to throw his enemies around or pyrokinesis to burn or blow them up. Best of all, the game's ragdoll physics make every explosion look pretty damn sweet. Think Mass Effect's Biotics, but long before that game ever showed up. Number 8, Shadows of the Damned.
If Mr. Man-on-Monster wants to play, magnifico.
What do you get when you team up Resident Evil's Shinji Mikami with Killer 7's and No More Heroes' Suda51? Well, you get this absurd action-packed tale of a demon hunter, Garcia Hotspur, who has to save his girlfriend from terrifying supernatural enemies, with the help of a crude, joke-telling floating skull.
Well, I'm just saying, demons are buttholes. You really wouldn't like it there.
Said floating skull, named Johnson, spends most of the game as a torch, but he can transform into a pistol when he calls himself the Boner, which fires sticky payload. He also later gets an appropriately named upgrade.
Oh my god, 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 Shawik!
Now that is a big boner.
Number 7, Heretic II. This fantasy title was the sequel to an FPS, and it showed that the concept worked equally well through the third-person perspective. Like its predecessor, it tells the story of the elven hunter Corvus, but this time he has to find the cure to a mysterious plague that turns his brethren into vicious killers. It's quite an entertaining journey, because the expansive levels are a blast to explore. Here, instead of pistols and shotguns, Corvus uses a variety of magic and melee weapons to dispatch his enemies, a rather unique feature for a game of its time. Number 6, The Suffering.
You hear me, inmate? Do you hear me?
Give him a chance.
To hell with protocol.
Though nobody really mentions this franchise today, this genre is certainly alive and well, and you can see the influences of this gore fest almost everywhere. The Suffering tells the story of Torque, a convicted killer who ends up having to deal with enemies far more terrifying than the law.
You've got to get me out of here! No!
While the gameplay is still your standard third-person shooter affair, the added tension from the horror setting and the terrifying monsters clearly laid the groundwork for other similar titles to follow. Number 5, Winback, Covert Operations. Known as Operation Winback in Europe, many gamers hoped that this stealth shooter would be the N64's answer to the Metal Gear Solid games. It ended up not catching on quite as hard as that franchise, but it's still worth playing. The game uses an interesting cover mechanic that allows Special Operative Jean-Luc Cougar to stick close to walls and perform quick pop-outs to shoot enemies, way before Gears of War ever graced the scene. The game later was ported to the PlayStation 2 with improved textures and voice acting that was, judge for yourself.
The Gulf system, right. It can hit any spot on Earth with pinpoint accuracy.
Yep, that pretty much sums it up.
Number 4, Dino Crisis 2. So, what happens when you take the pre-rendered background engine of the first 3 Resident Evil games and make a shooter out of it where you can actually move and shoot? You know, one that ditched the puzzles from the first game and gave us an all-out dino slaughter? Well, I guess you're looking at the answer. This is a game that really makes you realize that there is a major lack of good dinosaur games out there. The more fossils you kill, the more extinction points you get, allowing you to acquire new weapons in a surprisingly good gameplay loop. Honestly, it's pretty baffling that Capcom killed this franchise. I mean, it's not like it was something absurd like dinosaurs in space or... Oh, never mind. Number 3, Force Gemini. In the late 90s, Rare was to the N64 what Naughty Dog was to the PS3. And yet, this game didn't quite catch on as well as the company's FPS counterparts. Despite the less than intuitive targeting system, the title was way ahead of its time thanks to its varied gameplay, console-defying visuals, and a synthetic orchestral soundtrack. Helping the 3 members of the eponymous team defeat the evil insect Mizar makes for a pretty good time, especially seeing that one of them is a dog with a jetpack. Need I say more? Number 2, Vanquish.
Oh yeah. This is Sam. DARPA sent him to come along with us.
Another Shinji Mikami game on this list, and just like Shadows of the Damned, it hasn't had the staying power of his Resident Evil franchise, which, as you can see, is kind of a shame. Although it's difficult to master, part of the charm of Vanquish comes from its incredibly fun ARS suit system, which allows you to do cool things like skid at high speeds across the floor or make massive jumps into the air. Awesome animation and super fast gameplay made for a good package, but it seemed that no one ever played it.
I think I'm gonna need a bigger gun.
Before we get to our number 1, let's take a look at some honorable mentions. Number 1, Star Wars: Shadows of the Empire.
I just found out the Empire is about to ruin our day.
As unforgettable as the original Star Wars movies are, gamers tend to lose track of some of the games, like this one. Shadows was actually part of a multimedia project which also included a novel and a comic of the same name, and it tells the story of Dash, totally not Han Solo Rendar, a smuggler hired by the rebellion that gets caught up in their war with the Empire.
As there is a 0% probability that you will survive this encounter, I see no risk in informing you.
Noteworthy moments include an amazing recreation of the Battle of Hoth, intense third-person combat where you can use a jetpack, and pretty much all of the iconic Star Wars locations, characters, and weapons you know and love. Except for lightsabers. Chances are, given the nature of this topic, it's likely we've forgotten about a few hidden gems.
Now hold on, what was your name again?
So let us know about what third-person shooters you wish people talked more about, and for more memorable top 10s published daily, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Now I must conclude this interruption.